Stamp Rally is going well. It does not end at filling one stamp card. You can attempt to get as many stamps as possible. It's good because I feel like we got a lot of, just so far, collabs out of it that might not have happened if people didn't feel that urgency toward it, because people always feel like, I could collab with people anytime. It's whatever, right? There's nothing that really produces a sense of urgency to collab in certain duos. But then when you have this thing in front of you, now you're thinking to yourself, okay, how can I make this happen? And it happens. So that was my goal. I just wanted people to do interesting duo collabs. It doesn't plan any collabs ever. Because the thing is, it's not like our only job is to hit go live and that's it. There's so much stuff going on and time and put into things, whatever, outside of streaming itself. And then you get people like me where most of my gaming that I do off stream, I just do on alt now, like a lot of it. So, you know, just kind of always on, and if off, probably not relaxing. And that means that doing things like messaging someone else to do a thing, you just don't do, because it's not that you don't want to, you're just preoccupied. That's it. You're just preoccupied constantly. Same with every other job? No. Maybe if you are self-employed, yes. I think it's the same with any job where you are self-employed or certain startups, those kinds of, that kind of culture. But no, I mean, a lot of other jobs, while you may be on call or people may ask you to do things and you do have to work outside of work sometimes, there's still a limit for a lot of them. Whereas with this, you can always be doing more. You can always be doing something else. You can always be doing additional 100% of the time, and to literally no end. So people compound a lot of work on themselves that they don't need to, and it just gets like that. I know there's been some discourse where every time a streamer feels like, you know, people haven't paid attention to them recently, they're gonna get on there and be like, streaming is so hard. It's harder than 9 to 5s, and they'll start having that discourse. So annoying. Shut the hell up. What kind of hubris, what kind of ego do you have to compare your one job, or how stupid do you have to be to compare your singular job to every other job as a group, as a lump? What? There's always going to be something easier, and there's always going to be something harder than what you do. Like, like, the comparison is so dumb. Let's just change the question. Being a janitor is harder than any other job. Okay, so it's harder than being you know, corrections officer in a jail. Okay, it's harder than being a teacher. It's hard. Like, you're comparing it to literally everything. That's crazy. It's not an argument to even have, because there's nothing quantifiable there, is what I'm saying, right? The only thing you as an individual can compare it to is what types of jobs you've had first, before it or during it or whatever, because you have firsthand experience. And then even then, your mileage may vary. There are people who work one job that have a really hard time with it, and there are people that work the same job but elsewhere, and they're a different person in a different company, and they have an easy time with it. So why are we comparing? There's literally no reason to compare it at all. Who cares? So streaming is not harder than 9 to 5. Self-employment is more time consuming if you let it be. Thing is, have you guys ever been professional streamers? That's the other thing. I don't think anyone who hasn't been a streamer should try to compare it either. I just don't think anyone should talk about anything that they don't know about. Period. Every time I see a streamer complain about this, I'm like, you're opening an argument to all these people who've never done this, and then vice versa. You probably have only done like 2-3 unique jobs, and you're going, this is harder than every job. Like, what? I don't think anyone can rightfully have that conversation unless they've done every job, which is nobody. Right? Yeah, exactly right. Comparisons require perspective. That's what I'm saying. And no one has enough perspective to actually sit here and quantify this stuff in the terms of how it feels to do these things. You can compare it to the individual things you as an individual have done, absolutely. But when a streamer gets up there and goes, this is harder than a 9 to 5, they are probably just looking for attention, or they're just frustrated and they're complaining, and they don't mean this at all. And then people always be like, what about oil workers and people in underwater welding? They always bring up the literal, like, hardest shit they can think of, and it gets me into that thing where I think we're in the mindset when we start doing that of the pain Olympics, the suffering Olympics. You know when you talk about something that went on in your life that was bad, and you're like, that was the worst day of my life, and then someone else will go, oh yeah, well I had this, or what about that guy doing that thing, and they bring up some, and it turns into the suffering Olympics where they start trying to one up. I feel like that's what that conversation turns into. You can never have that conversation without it turning into that. So why do people keep bringing it up? But again, when you have that conversation, you get clipped. You get so many views, right? Even if people are shitting on you in comments, at least they know your name now. So I'm like, man, why even have this conversation? So dumb. I don't know. I think being a streamer is very hard in specific ways that other jobs might not be difficult in, for sure, but some jobs absolutely will be difficult in those same ways. So whatever. right? Whatever.